Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nsanity Games back with another Terraria video. This one is going to be my top 10 Terraria mods. Now, if you got any suggestions for any cool mods that you enjoy personally, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm always on the lookout for more Terraria mods. So, let's get on with the first one. The first one is the boss health bar mod. As you can see, if you look at them when you damage them, you got a little health bar at the bottom that tells you exactly how much health they have. Pretty interesting. It's definitely a good idea to have something like this, at least for me personally, because I'm sick and tired of trying to hover over their little body as they're moving, especially if they're a fast moving boss, just to see how close you are to victory. With that, you can just take a quick glance down at the bottom of the screen. You'll have a good idea of how far or how much you have left to take off their health bar. Next we have the World Gen Previewer. Create a new world. I'm going to do small. Just pick whatever, and we're going to call it 1. As you're creating the map, you'll be able to get a general idea of what's going to be where. Jungle is going to be on the left side this time, so that means dungeon is going to be over here somewhere, as you can see. And then you can tell you where exactly the corruption is going to spawn, where the desert's going to be, jungle temple as well. So, if you're like me, who likes using this after how many times of not knowing where everything is, it's pretty useful. As you see, you got a lot of water over there, which also is pretty cool. And there you have it. Tells you exactly where everything is. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't, or if you might enjoy something like this. The third mod on the list is when you create a new character. It's called the Fast Start mod. Let's just pick a random character. I don't care. We're going to call you number 2. And we're just going to select him. Number 2. Let's just pick a random world. I'll pick this one. And once you're in, you should start off with some items. As you can see, got a bunch of different items. It is random what you're going to get. It does not go above platinum/gold level, but you may end up getting something like a life crystal, some mana crystals, you know, a cloud in a bottle. So now I have double jump and some mysterious gems. Also, it may vary more depending on if you got any mods installed. Really good for the people who play a lot of Terraria and don't want to have to start off the bare basics every time. And it'll also add a little bit of random what you're going to start off with, so it'll speed up the beginning process a little bit. Next up on our list is the Fargo's Mutant mod. This one adds some pretty cool, I'd say, classes. It can differentiate the classes pretty well. Yeah, I mean, you got the Sniper Soul, which increases range damage. You got the Warlocks, increases magical damage. You got the Enchanters, which is basically the Summoner's Soul. Gladiator, melee, Ninja for throwing stuff and whatnot, and we have the Unbreakable Soul, which is more of a tank. And then we have the Soul of the Universe. Very, very powerful. It's a combination of previous 6 souls that I mentioned, and it increases your health by 1,500, bringing it up to about 2,000. If you combine it with the Unbreakable Soul, it increases even further and reduces the amount of damage you take even further. So it can be pretty overpowered. If you can, I mean, think about it. You have 6 accessory slots on, whatever you call it, expert mode. You can have one of these and 5 souls, or maybe one of these, 4 souls, and a flying thing. So it is pretty overpowered. But that's not all. You have a NPC that will move in, that will sell you summonable items that will allow you to fight previous bosses you have fought before. As you can see, you get quite a lot of bosses here, both what do they call it, vanilla and modded. Some cost like a platinum, some just cost gold, and some are actually, I don't think there's one. Oh no, there's one. The Storm Flare is 50 silver, so for the most part you're going to be paying gold and platinum. Really good mod. I definitely like it. I don't like farming the materials needed to create more items to summon bosses that I previously have beaten before. So this is a really good mod for farming and whatnot. And it also has those overpowered souls, which I definitely like. I mean, it gives you more options for classes. Our next mod on the list is the Cheeze's Content Pack mod, which is Pretty cool. It adds some new weapons and accessories, some upgrades from the previous one. If you remember the blue lightsabers from, well, actually not just the blue, but the lightsabers and the light, I think, phase sabers, depending on whatever color you choose. Here's another one. This one is called the blue laser saber. There's obviously other colors as well. It also launches a projectile and swings, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have the Chaos Theory. This is more of a spell, but it launches random spells. You got fire, wind, water, and whatever the heck that purple stuff is. So that's pretty cool. So you're not going to get the same spell every time. Then we have the One Punch Glove. I don't know how to use this effectively, but as you can see, it's like a charging thing. I personally really don't care for it, but it's still pretty interesting. Last we have is a fairly overpowered weapon. It's called the Admin Sword. If you look at it, it has 9,181 damage without any modifiers and without really anything boosting its damage. If you look at the damage, that's about 160,000, 150, 160,000. That's with nothing boosting it. So that's pretty powerful. If you add a bunch of boosts, especially from mods that have past endgame content, so like past Moonlord, that could really boost the damage on this weapon right here. And it can one-hit kill a lot of early, I think pretty much every single, I mean even the Wall of Flesh. I mean the Wall of Flesh only has 8,000 HP if I remember correctly, so this literally could one-shot that thing. And can make quick work with a lot of hard mode bosses. So definitely worth checking out if you're into this kind of stuff. Next up on the list we have the Sacred Tools mod. It has some interesting weapons and some late game bosses. First off, we have Break Into the Wallet. Pretty interesting. It basically summons basically a dollar bill or however many dollars it actually is. I can't read the numbers from here. It might not even have numbers on there. Then we have Neon Mirror, which is basically another Meownir, except for it actually launches it before it actually turns into the Rainbow Cat. Then we have the Lunatic Burst Staff, which is basically like a magic machine gun. It can go through walls, right there, as you can see. Then we have the Star Shower, that will also go through walls. Not every time, but it can go through the walls, as you can see. Then we have one of my personal favorites, the Prism Break, which is basically a very powerful laser. And makes quick work with a lot of things. And it can also go through walls if you position it correctly. And one of the bosses on the list is the Flame Serpent. Pretty powerful. And it's basically like another destroyer, but more late game. And it should be almost dead. I'm not sure if you're supposed to hit a specific part, because sometimes it seems like you're hitting it, or if it has phases where it can only be damaged then. I'm not 100% sure. So this could take a while sometimes. It's almost dead. Has about 4k health. There we go. So it seems it's only vulnerable at its head, because this does a decent amount of damage. It should have been killed a little bit quicker than it was there. Still pretty interesting. Suggest you check it out. Next up on our list is the Potion Merchant mod. Depending on how many bosses you killed, this guy will sell you some potions. Recall, Wormhole, Archery, basically all the good potions. Magic Power, Teleportation, Obsidian, Titan, Gravitation. So you won't have to necessarily make them anymore, although some people would argue that would take away some of the fun of the game of actually farming the necessary resources. But if you're into that kind of thing where you don't really care for the farming of the potion ingredients and making the potions, that could be a pretty good mod for you to check out. Next up on our mod list is the Juiced mod. Here's some pretty cool weapons. As you can see, stationary. Here's another one. Giant needles. Now this one is strange because it'll go sometimes even ways you don't want it to go. If you go over there, see, I'm looking to the right, but it's going to the left. So, pretty interesting. And you got the Jumbo Bow, which is pretty interesting. I haven't figured out exactly how this bow works, but it is interesting to say the least. And you have the rose weave, which also does the same exact thing. It goes the opposite direction of where you're pointing at, so it can be a little difficult aiming it at times. Now here's one that I like a lot, because I don't know, this reminds me of like a boss attack from like Castlevania. I don't know why, it just does. And then we have the Hallett Sickle, which is, as you can see, just throws it. Pretty awesome. I personally definitely like it. It is one of those throwing weapons. The last one was as well. Definitely something to check out. And then we have this guy. This guy definitely reminds me from Final Fantasy. It has 200... Is that 2.5 million health? So I think that might actually be 2.5 million health, which is one of the highest HP bosses I've ever seen on this game. So it was either 250,000 or 2.5 million. I'm pretty sure it was 2.5 million, so that was definitely interesting. Second to last mod on this list is even more modifiers. For those who do not know, if you look at the legendary statistics on this legendary admin sword, you'll see that 5 different modifiers. Well, with even more modifiers, add another section. If you look below the modifiers on the legendary admin sword, you'll see a comment, and below that you'll have up to 6% damage based on missing health. Anytime after you install this mod, you'll come across some weapons, some armors, some accessories when you're making it, buying it, or even crafting it, will have that. It will not always have that when you're buying it, but it should. Now, if you get something like this dropped, which you can farm from monsters, you right-click, and then right-click again, and it'll give you a chance to get another modifier. A lot of the times, though, it will get rid of everything. Like there, we got an uncommon one. 15% chance to inflict Cursed Inferno, plus 9% damage during the daytime, and plus 5% chance to inflict Confusion. That's a pretty decent modifier. You have rare, and I think there's one above rare. As you can see, it increased the damage by about 1,000. This used to only give about 140 to 150,000 damage. Now it can go up to about 160 if you move, or if you angle it differently, it could go up a little bit higher than that. Now, if you already have weapons and you're trying to install this this mod on another, like on a playthrough that you already started, you might have to recollect some of the weapons. Actually, you probably will have to recollect some of the weapons and armor and accessories, because they won't have that. Like if you go over here, this accessory does not have that common thing on there, so therefore it did not roll with the possibility or chance of having that modifier. You right click again. Instead of adding the modifiers to it, it just equipped it. So you're going to have to recollect weapons, accessories, or armor again if you want the chance to have that modifier, which could be a little bit annoying, especially if you're late on in the game. Last mod on the list is the Pumpkins mod. It's one of my personal favorite mods. Here's some of the weapons. This one is the Frozen Hammer. Pretty awesome. Definitely like it. Then we have the Terra Saw, which actually goes through the walls, and it can also home in on enemies. Maybe not the dummies, but definitely enemies. If there's an enemy nearby, like a slime or something, it will start to home in and track it. As you can see, there's nothing there, so there's really nothing for it to track. Then we have the Spearon. Pretty interesting. I definitely like it. It can go through the walls on with the bubbles, so pretty awesome. Then we have the Pumpkin Sword. I definitely like it. This also does go through the wall, which I like weapons like that where it can also go through the walls, because some of the enemies' attacks can go through the walls. Definitely like weapons that can do that as well. And then we have the Mech Raven Staff, which is personally one of my favorites, because I don't know, I just like being a summoner in games like Terraria and whatnot. So anything that adds more summons to the game, definitely worth checking out in my book. And then here's one of my favorite parts of it, is the boss. As you can see, pretty cool. It is the Pumpkin Horseman. It has about 200,000 health. So normally it'll probably take a while, but since I have the admin sword, it makes quick work of it. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. If you have any mods for me to check out, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm always on the lookout for mods that might interest me. I like mods that add unique, interesting stuff that you don't really see too much in the base or vanilla Terraria. Also like stuff that adds more bosses, more accessories, you know, basically the usual kind of stuff. If you have any mods like that, please let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.